Hello, everybody, and welcome to yet another episode of Witches and Wine. This is the show where we talk about witchy stuff and we drink wine. Clink and drink.
Clink and drink.
And clink and drink. You got the whole bottle. I love it.
Our kind of guest.
At least it's not in a paper bag. Anyway, I am your hostess. I haven't even had any wine yet, and I'm cracking up. I am your hostess with the mostest, Lady Lola Stardust, and
I am Lord Silent of Stardust.
And we are the High Priest and High Priestess of Children of the Crossroads ATC in Spokane, Washington. And before we get to the wine and all the fun things I'm so excited about the topic we're going to talk about. I got to do a little disclaimer. It has been brought to our attention that sometimes people do not like to watch witches drink wine and talk about witchy stuff. They're like, you're tipsy. That's not how I want to learn about witchcraft. And I'm like, well, wine is in the title. So, but if you're watching us now and you're like, I don't like it, you can click the X in the corner and we disappear.
Boom.
It's magic.
Yep.
You've got the power.
It's a vanishing spell.
It is a vanishing spell. All right, before we get to our beautiful guest, I'm going to turn this over to my partner in crime, my high priest, the love of my life. I like how you always just look at me and drink, like, keep going.
Gemini. Of course, I'm going to continue.
You're such a Gemini. Lord Silenus, would you tell us about the wine?
Oh, I'd be very happy to. Tonight, we are going with a red Burgundy. This is Belland Santenay Charmes. This is 100% Pinot Noir out of the Santenay region in Burgundy. Very, very earthy, quite a bit of cherry for the flavor profile. Very, very, very dry.
Mm-hmm.
It is absolutely delicious. This is what sets Burgundies apart from all other Pinot Noirs in the world.
So yummy.
You just can't replicate the soil, the effect, the mouthfeel. And that's why Burgundies are so sought after and so appreciated.
Mm-hmm. And what does it pair well with?
Burgundies a lot of times are going to go with your salmon dishes. Go with a lighter pork dish.
Okay.
Being that it's a Pinot Noir, it definitely pairs with almost all foods. But being in the dryness, you're going to need something that's going to be robust enough to stand up against the dryness of it. And when you're dealing with Santenays, you're going to be paying a pretty penny for them. They generally are going to start about $45 and going up to about $100, $150 based on which Santenay.
And we got it for free.
Part of the perks of one of my jobs.
Yeah.
Day jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just absolutely delicious. Definitely got to let it breathe for a little while. It's been breathing for about 45 minutes before I poured tonight. So.
Oh yeah, you could definitely tell it needs to breathe. It's very dry. I really like it.
And very, very earthy.
It's earthy like me. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, my love. All right. I'm so excited. So this is the second episode of our continuation of the Spring Mysteries, talking about Spring Mysteries 2025, which is coming up. I've got the dates here, or do you know the dates right offhand?
April 12th.
Oh, here we go. April 17th through April 20th. So it's coming up. But we talked to the Vessel of Demeter a few days ago, Ellie, and that was so fun. And now we've got the beautiful Titania. ThunderLily. Welcome to the show.
Hi, it's Titania ThunderLily, and that's okay. I'm super excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely. She was actually, can I just call you Anna during
the... Oh, yeah.
Okay. It's just because I'll be going ta-ta-ta.
We've known her for a long time. It's always been Anna.
So. Okay. So, what was I going to say? Oh, Anna was the first one that responded when I put the announcement, and I was so hoping that she would. I was like, oh, come on, Baubo. And then she was like, I will. I was like, yes. I was so excited. So if anyone watched the show a few days ago, we are promoting Spring Mysteries, which is a festival. I think this is the 39th year. Yeah, that the Aquarian Tabernacle Church has been putting on. It is the continuation of the story of Demeter and the abduction of her daughter Persephone. and you get to meet the gods, which is a really, you don't just go and watch a play. These vessels, and I have experience in this too, they invoke the gods, they invoke that deity that they've been working with, and they are inspired. We are used as the muses, and we just kind of, or there are muses and they inspire us. So Anna here, it gets to play or gets to work with Baubo. Can you explain? I mean, I could go on and on,
Well,
but
and before you do, I just want to point out, Baubo would really appreciate the way you're drinking that wine, not in a glass. She said, "Fuck that noise." I was get this shit in me now.
yeah.
So I
That's
just want to say I
literally what
appreciate
happened
that.
when I picked it. Like I don't have a lot of wine glasses. I have one that's like a little witchy glass, and I was gonna grab it, and Baubo just goes, "Oh, honey, just take
Yeah.
the bottle. Stop
Yeah.
fucking around."
Yeah, no,
That's
yeah,
a very Baubo thing.
very much so.
Yeah. So why don't you explain to us, our people that are watching or watching the recording later on, who is Baubo?
So that's a really good question. In I think it's the Iliad, or maybe it's either the Odyssey or the Iliad. She's called iambe,
Yeah.
and iambe relates to iambic pentameter and poetry in the spoken word. Baubo, which is the name we use in Spring Mysteries Festival and has been used in other sacred texts. So when I was cast as this role, I was frustrated that I couldn't find a lot of information, because that's my first thing that I do when I'm cast. I immediately go to research, and there was so little, and I was like, what is going on? And then I realized, after digging a little deeper, that the reason it's so hard to find things about Baubo is that she was so crucial to the mysteries that people had to shut the fuck up about her. Like,
yeah. Yeah.
The whole point of the Eleusinian mysteries is you don't talk about the Eleusinian mysteries, because it would lessen your experience to leave and then tell people what you've experienced. Kind of like, this is a bad example, but if you have a really powerful therapy session, you don't want to go and tell someone what you realized, because it's just gonna like take away from that experience. So
yeah, exactly. And I think I passed on a book information to you about Baubo. Did you get that? Did you ever pick up that book that I think I passed on?
I did, yes.
Yeah.
And what I did realize, and this happens with almost every other deity I hold, is that I'll do the research, but then as soon as I start actually invoking and channeling and hearing the words of deity, the book itself becomes irrelevant, because I'll pick up this book and the god is now talking to me and saying, oh no, that's not how it happened. This is how it happened. Or I'll be meditating, trying to figure out what happens. And then, it actually happens like this. So there's two different aspects of Baubo that I'm still like wavering between. So what I had interpreted when I first saw the mysteries was that Baubo was the servant of Queen Metanaira, and I could not be more incorrect about that.
Yeah.
Baubo, so if we think of the city of Eleusis as the body of the goddess, Baubo is the sacral chakra in the body. And rule is not the word I'm going through. She is the well at the heart of Eleusis. Yeah. So I've had a couple different meditations and meditative experiences when invoking Baubo, because at the start of every rehearsal, we're taken on a guided meditation where we meet with our deity and they start talking to us. Yeah. And so is it okay if I talk about a couple of them?
Oh, please do. Yeah.
So the very first meditation I had, I was sitting at the well and it was just me, and it's this empty courtyard. And this man comes up and I can't see his face, but he's a messenger. And he hands me this letter and says, due to your ability to be humble and your ability to truly be passionate about the gods, you've been chosen to be the vessel of Baubo for the Eleusinian mysteries. I need you to come with me. So he takes my hand and I can't see his face. And it's just frustrating me so much. I want to know who this messenger is. And he takes me to this horse-drawn carriage, and it's orange, like her sacral chakra color. Everything is orange and drapery on the inside. And sitting in the carriage waiting for me is Queen Met. And she goes, "Hi, oh my God." And like, it's like two friends who haven't seen each other in forever. And, you know, we hug and we're like, "Oh my gosh, we're so excited. We're going to Eleusis. We get to do this thing together." So I lean over to her and I'm like, "Hey, do you know who the driver is? I can't figure out who the driver is." And so we're both like staring at the back of the driver's head. And then I catch a glimpse of these blonde curls and it hits me. Oh my God, it's Hermes. And Hermes himself turns around and says, "You think that you wouldn't get a personal escort from the messenger god himself to Eleusis? Like, you, Baubo, Queen Met, you humans do so much for us that why would we not return the favor? These mysteries cannot happen with you without you." And so that was extremely powerful. That was back when I had initially interpreted Baubo to be an ancestral deity that was a human who was reincarnated. And then I had more meditations that made me realize that her being a human was a title that was put on her by straight white men who didn't like someone to be very powerful. But she is more like a spirit. The most recent meditation I had, I was back at the well and it was all dark and everything was gloomy. We were very clearly in some sort of blight. And I was so cold. I was freezing, but I couldn't leave that well. That was where I had to be. I needed to be tending the well. And then I woke up I woke up and I was back in the carriage, but this time it's just me and Hermes and I can't see his face. And we go to the courtyard, the same courtyard I was just asleep at, but this time it's bright and sunny. And all the gods are standing around the well waiting for me like they expect something from me. And so I go up to the well and I start doing this witchcraft around it through dance and song. And I start colors start coming out of it and shapes and magical things start happening and the well comes to life. And so the mysteries can begin. And the most recent one I had, this one was not done in invocation. This one was done when I was praying. I finally made an altar to Baubo and I sat down and I'm like, I need to understand what's going on because I don't know whether I want to go with ancestral human or more elemental fae. And she's like, "Let me answer that question for you." And this time I was in the belly of the earth and I was clawing my way out and I emerged from the earth. And as I emerged, the well sprung up from where I came out of the ground. And I was like, "Oh, okay, a question answered." I'm an elemental spirit goddess and it's easier to put her in a little box of an ancestral deity because then we can make sense of her because she's no sense. If that makes sense.
But she's so much more. And that's the thing with working with her is you just find out that she is absolutely one of the most important characters. I hate to say, but characters in the mysteries. Because I'm not sure. Can we talk about what she did? I mean, you can read about it, right? So if we can read about it, we could. It
might help with just saying, what is she the goddess of, or what is she known to be the things of?
Yes, because that's the thing is we call her to make it easy for us to, I'll say, "Oh, she's the goddess of the belly laughs and mirth and, all the things." Are you learning that there's so much more to that?
Yes. So I had always in the mythology, she is the only person, gods, humans alike, who is able to bring Demeter out of her grief just long enough to take her somewhere safe so that the gods can then start communicating with her. But Demeter was so lost, so deep in her grief that nobody could find her. Nobody was able to reach her. And Baubo was the one who was able to get through to her by making her laugh. And in the myths, that's because she flashes her and gets very sensual about it.
Yeah.
And so I had interpreted that flashing and sensuality to be very much like, she's just my favorite little slut. She's your wine mom who, like, she's Queen Met's slutty best friend. Like, that's what I was thinking about. But then I went back to, okay, there's so much more to it, because it's easy to be like, oh, she just loves her vagina and loves having sex because sacral chakra.
Yeah.
But it's more that she's so deep in that watery sacral chakra aspect that the sexual part is secondary. Like, it comes with it, but the feelings and the emotions and the waters are what's first.
Yes, absolutely. I love that. And I think, you know, when I was working with Baubo, well, I've told this story before, but I have to tell it because this is exactly how it happened. I knew that when we were during COVID, during the pandemic, we did Spring Mysteries online for a few years, and we had GodCon, or the monologues, which are in layman's terms the audition for Spring Mysteries. You can invoke whatever god you want. It doesn't have to be
whatever energy.
You can do elementals. You can do, you know, whatever. People have invoked Jesus.
Yep.
People like it's amazing what you can do. And I just knew, I was like, I need to work with Baubo, because I had just started doing burlesque, and I was so nervous all the time. And so I said, yep, I'm going to do Baubo. And I invoked her, and I was going to be on after the next person. Or there was 2 people ahead of me, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to say. I don't know what I'm going to do. And I went to the bathroom and I'm sitting on the toilet. And so I am perimenopausal, and sometimes we're going to talk real here, because Baubo, you talk real.
Yep.
I am perimenopausal. And if anyone out there knows what happens is sometimes you get really dry down there. And so when you use the toilet paper got stuck in me, and I'm pulling it out like a fucking magician with all the scarves, and I'm just pulling it out, and that's when Baubo, I could hear this laughter, and she's like, you should pull stuff out of your vagina. And so vulva. That was, or vulva, yes. And so that is what I did for Baubo. She pulled out a bottle of wine. She pulled out, you know, toys. She pulled out a crystal. Like, it just...
She pulled out Daryl Dixon from The Walking Dead.
I had a Daryl Dixon doll from The Walking Dead she pulled out. So she is fun when she just... she just hits you. She's like, what are you doing? You're already, you've got it. Pull stuff out of your vulva.
That actually reminds me of a very funny story. This was, I think, a couple days after I got the announcement of cast. And I was like dipping my toes into what her energy was. And due to the economy, I thought it would be a good idea to invest in a Diva Cup. And I will go into why that was not a good idea later. But I thought it was a good idea at the time. And I have I have some sexual trauma, and so I was really nervous about putting this thing in my vagina just the way it had to be inserted.
Yeah.
And so, like, I'm laying on the floor with my legs up like I'm just about to get railed, but it's this little cup. And like, so I've got it between my legs, and it's less that I don't know what to do and more that I'm afraid. And so I'm kind of tearing up. Like, I'm really stressed out about this. And just when I think, like, I shouldn't be this stressed out about a fucking cup. Like, it's not this big of a deal. I'll just put in a tampon. Baubo was like, oh, no, honey. I want your vagina to slurp it up. I want you to suck it up like a reverse birth. And so, like, I've folded it up. And, you know, she's like, you know how to do Kegels, so you do that backwards. You slurp that thing up. You slurp it.
Wow.
Oh, my God.
And I literally, like, my vagina just sucked this Diva Cup, like, into the uterus, and it popped out.
Oh, my God. Okay, so this
This is Baubo.
This is Baubo energy right now. What we are doing. This is so Baubo. I fucking love that so much.
It's all
Well, it
about
gets
the
better
laughter.
because then I went to the Metaphysical market, and I've got this Diva cup. This is the first time wearing this Diva cup, and this is when I remembered that I have a retrograde uterus, and so a Diva cup wouldn't actually work. But I didn't know that until after 2 hours of driving from Olympia to Everett with this Diva cup in, and I go to the bathroom. And I just want to thank Baubo and all of the other gods who shielded me here, because I didn't get blood all over my clothes, but I did get blood all over my hands and all over the Everett toilet. I'm so sorry to the janitors. It's just like a river of blood. And I was like, what do I do? Because I didn't have any tampons. I didn't prepare. I thought this wasn't going to be an issue. And so,
oh God.
My coven sister is in the bathroom. She's a couple stalls down. And I'm like, Alicia, I need help.
Oh my God.
Yep,
that's Baubo.
That's pure Baubo.
And were you just like kind of going, this is ridiculous, but it is so, it's what we have to talk about as women. That's what I realized too, is women should talk about their vulvas and their vaginas and all the things that come with that.
Agreed.
Yes.
The stigmas, the sexual trauma that we have with that. I mean, there's so many things that she can heal with that. Have you found that a big part of? Well, she's the healing waters. I mean, she's the sacred well. So there's healing in that, right?
There's this year I've worked through my past sexual trauma more intensively and not consensually. I haven't wanted to work through it. I also told myself I'd already worked through it. So, but that's adorable. I haven't. I didn't. And so
that's adorable.
But like, I've worked through
it. Explains it.
What?
Second degree.
Second degree. Were you a second degree when this was going on?
I sure was not.
Oh, okay.
Because usually it's the second degree when you start doing that. Hey, maybe I haven't got past this.
She was working towards her second.
No.
Oh, I apologize. I was a second. I was elevated to second 3 years ago now. So yes, I was a second degree when.
I was like, oh no, that's second degree shit.
Yeah, it knocks you on the head and says, guess what? You got more shadow work you got to do on this.
I always think of like second degree and spiritual growth as well as like a spiral. So when you think that you're like, oh my God, why am I going back into this rut? Why am I like having these thoughts again? Well, you're still going up. It's a spoke spiral.
Yeah.
But those same shadows, you're facing them again, but you've leveled up. You've got new mana, new skills. And so the shadows that you're facing are more intense, but your skills to face them are also more intense.
Exactly.
So you're not slipping, you're just continuing to go up.
You're evolving, but you're going to have the same, sometimes the same shit that's going to hit you, but you are a different person. Like even right now, I am a different person on a cellular, is that the word? Cellular level, on maturity level. Well, I don't know if you call it mature, but I mean, it's, you know what I mean? Like we don't repeat, and it doesn't mean that we are stuck. Well, some people are, but they're not doing their shadow work. We are evolving, and we have to evolve into a different type of energy in order to deal with whatever that trauma is in a different type of energy, or else we're never going to get over things. Right?
I kind of equate it like if you're a video game player, when you beat the same boss 3 different times in the same game, but they evolve and it's a different fight each time because you're getting past the initial layer. I use that as the concept.
That's amazing. I like that. Yeah. You play video games?
I actually don't.
Okay.
Well, so my brother and I bonded as kids, like over Lego Star Wars. And to this day, we play Lego Star Wars and we're like serious about it. Like my brother and I don't fight. Like we're good kids. He's 27. I'm almost 31. Like we're adults. But when we're playing Lego Star Wars, no, we're not.
Yeah.
We're once
12
again
and 8.
12 and 16, and we're gonna just destroy the fuck out of each other.
I love that. I want to talk about some of the things. So basically, Baubo made Demeter laugh. It's not that simple, but I try to, because we can really go into the symbolism, but that's part of the mysteries. That's part of the mysteries is there's symbolism, there's things you experience. You're going to experience your own different things, but in layman's terms, she makes Baubo, or she makes Demeter laugh. She pretty much saves the human race because she's able to say, get out of your rut here and take a look around, great mother. People are dying because you are in such deep mourning. So, but it is such, I think because it's such a small part, that's why there's not a whole lot about her. But isn't it always the ones that you think are on surface are like, oh, that's just a supporting role, or that's an extra, but it's sometimes always those ones that are like
the most crucial.
They're the most crucial. Yeah.
If you're a Seinfeld fan, she's kind of like Newman. She steals the scene when she comes around.
Newman.
She drives the storyline forward, but she only has small parts. But when she's there, she's very present and takes over, and you're focusing your energy with her.
I like that you use that because there's those roles that you see in movies and sitcoms that they're not the main characters, but you love them the most. They're like the side characters, like Karen and Jack on Will and Grace were the best characters, and they weren't even Will and Grace. But anyways, I digress. So can you tell us some things about Baubo that have really hit you, like the light bulb, that moment that about yourself?
Oh, that's a tough one. So I will say this. I've done a lot of roles for Spring Mysteries Festival, and this is the role with the least amount of lines and the least amount of screen time per se, but it is the hardest role I've ever held, and I cry almost every night. And things that are like very small emotional things become very big. And the realization I had that I talked about with my teacher, Bella, is that when I was cast as Baubo, I thought, this feels a little tight casting, right? Like I'm I'm very sensual as a person, and I can be really funny. But here's the key difference, because my dad, his mother was in the camps in World War II, and how she survived is very, like, the generational trauma is strong. But the way he was taught to cope was that there's some really serious tragedy, and so we're going to make fun of it and make it funny. And that's what he taught me to do. So, like,
trauma healing.
Yeah.
The way the world is going today, I'll be like, oh, LOL, we all have depression. Oh, we're all going to die. So funny. But what Baubo taught me is, okay, well, there's things that aren't funny. Like, that's not funny. What happened to Demeter wasn't funny. And she didn't make her laugh because of what happened. She wasn't like, okay, but isn't it hilarious that you're walking around all disheveled? She found something else to make her laugh about and said, okay, but like, we all still have vaginas and they're really great.
Yes.
And so the type of humor she taught me to find in those dark times is humor that we still have, things that we can still be grateful for and still find funny, that are actually funny without having to take this serious thing and discount it. And because when we laugh at something, we do take power over it, and we reclaim our power over something by laughing at it and saying, oh, this is just hilarious. But we don't want to do that to everything. There are some things that they're just powerful and they're just not funny. And it's okay. And Baubo doesn't go, oh, you just have to laugh about it and get over it. She lets you feel that, and then gives you all these other things to still be grateful for and to still laugh about. Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No,
She's like, I don't know if you've ever, because we're old people compared to you. I can't believe you're going to be 31. I feel like I've known you since you were just a youngin'. But
yeah, so we
when you said almost 31, I went, that's not right.
Well, yeah, because we met you. You were probably 21.
21 or
20 maybe. When we met you.
I think so. It's been about it. I've been we've been working with the church and Spring Mysteries 10 years ago, 11 years ago. So you were just a youngin'. But it's like the movie Steel Magnolias. There is a scene where Olympia Dukakis and is very good friends with Shirley MacLaine's character. And Shirley MacLaine's character is a grumpy old woman. And so there's a scene that Sally Field is crying because her daughter passed away. Yeah, spoiler alert, Julia Roberts dies in Steel Magnolias. Sorry. But anyways, and so they're at the funeral and the mother, Sally Field, is just, I want to yell, I want to scream, I want to hit something. I need to hit something. And Olympia Dukakis grabs Shirley MacLaine and goes, "Here, hit her." and Shirley MacLaine's like, "What the hell are you doing?" And she goes, "Come on, everybody wants to hit her. And it took that moment. And they all laughed. Yeah. And it was the most beautiful moment because here's this mother who lost. Yeah, it broke the tension. And that is what reminds me of Baubo, is like she kind of breaks that tension. She's not saying what you're going through is hilarious. She's saying, hey, it's getting tense. Check this out. So I love that about Baubo. I love it. So did you are you learning to get over a lot of trauma? Because I know for me, Baubo really helped me get over some trauma I had where I went to it. It's a long story, but I won't get into it. It was a doctor visit, a gynecology visit. It was awful. There was a lot of trauma that I was going through, and I kind of shut off like from everything from my belly button down. Like I was just like, I don't have sexual organs. Do not touch them. Do not look at them. And Balbo's really good at like, put a mirror under there, look at it, and just love it. Have you found that that's been like also something that?
Well, she was just talking about having her legs spread up in the air.
Oh yeah. You're like, ding, yeah.
Well, there is a lot more, and I actually she did have me do the thing with the mirror because I had an itch, and she was like, you just have to lay down and look at it. So I had my makeup mirror out, and I was like, oh, I've never seen my vagina like this. And my first reaction was disgust. And then she's in my head and she's like, why are you disgusted by your vagina when men get to go around with these sweaty ass balls and saggy dicks and we have to worship that bullshit, right? And yeah, like, yeah,
beautiful.
Like genital organs are not supposed to be physically or aesthetically pleasing. They have a different purpose, and that it's a great purpose.
Absolutely, yeah.
I don't know. Things can be aesthetically pleasing.
Well, so here's the thing. I'm glad that you said this. And I did advertise this show as we're going to talk about laughter and vulvas. Like I was like so people, if you're joining us and you're going, this isn't, I'm like, then don't watch. Click the X. But I used the mirror for the first time, and I'm in my 50s. And I think when I was Baubo, I was 49
or 50.
Yeah, I was almost 50, and I had never done that before. And Baubo told me to do that, and I did. And there was shock, right? Because I'm like, whoa, that's what it looks like. And that is so sad that us women look at that and go, oh, I don't know what that is. I mean, I do, but eventually when Baubo makes you love it so much, and it is beautiful, and it's like a snowflake because every vulva is different. It really is. Every vulva, I have these pictures of different vulvas, and everyone is different. And women are like, we're not going to all look the same. Why would our vulvas look the same?
We have a painting done in our bedroom by a female artist who literally painted a whole bunch of different vulvas.
Yeah.
And on it, and they're all intertwining with each other in different ways to show that vulvas are beautiful.
They're beautiful.
They come in all different colors and patterns.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's okay. Celebrate it.
Yeah, we have to celebrate it. And that's the big thing for me with Baubo. So I want to talk about, you mentioned earlier that you have been.
This is the hardest role for you, but other roles you've had.
Yeah, this is one of the toughest roles, which makes sense. I get it, because she does make you kind of face things literally looking at your vagina in a mirror. That's a tough one. But you have been the vessel of many, many gods. Can you tell us, list off those gods, list off those goddesses that you have. Do you have a lot?
I will list all of them, including ones at Spring Mysteries, also ones that I've done for Coven things and for monologues. So bear with me as we count hands.
Yeah. I was thinking, which is quite a few for hers.
So there's Bast, Artemis, Aphrodite, Freya, Titania, the fairy queen, of course, Athena, Hera, I also Sekhmet, Lucifer himself. That was really fun. Amphitrite, and then there is Aphrodite again. Now Baubo, and
did you do Artemis?
She said Artemis.
You said Artemis already. Okay.
I did say Artemis, and then I did a very powerful transition from Freya to Frigg.
I saw that one. That was awesome.
I'm certain there's more, but those are the ones that have stuck out to me the most.
That's 13. Oh, 13.
That's crazy, right?
Yeah.
So you probably, people who have been to Spring Mysteries enough times probably recognize me most as Aphrodite. I was Aphrodite twice. Yeah. Once in 2020 when we moved online, and that was really hard to be Aphrodite online. And vessels afterwards agreed that it was hard. She has to do her own makeup. She's all by herself. She just fucking hates it. Yeah. And so I got another opportunity to be Aphrodite in person last year, 2024. And I was looking at pictures today where I have the same facial expression. I'm sitting in the same posture. I have the same far off fantasized look in my eye. And it's clearly not me. I don't make those faces. I don't sound like that. And these are half a decade apart, but that's the god. And it's so emotional to be that's deity coming out. And I'm doing that for people. I'm allowing people to experience deity through my body, and not a lot of people can say that. I think that's pretty bitchin'.
It's pretty awesome, and you have held some amazing roles. I really appreciate. You and I kind of bonded when you were invoking Lucifer at the same year I invoked Lilith.
Yeah, that was so fun.
It was so, and we kind of bonded over that because we were like, hello, yeah. And then we talked about the Lucifer show that was on Netflix or whatever. You and I would talk about how much we love the show and everything. That was our bonding moment. But I really enjoyed when you were because you would invite me to the online rituals that the Hearth would do, and I got to see you do the Freya to Frigg, and that was, let me tell you, that was really impressive because you did the charge of the goddess in Freya, and then it transferred into Frigg, right? Am I correct?
So what happened, and I'll tell the story because I love this story. I don't know if many of you know Norse mythology, but the way the most uncommonly known but also universally known myth is that Freya and Frigg are the same deity. And in the light half of the year, she's Freya. She's got her cat. She's got her chariot. She's super badass. She walks around with an axe. She kills a bunch of things. And then when the dark half of the year happens, and in Norse mythology, they define the dark and the light half of the year at Litha and Yule. For Wiccans, it's often Ostara and Mabon. And for some Wiccans, Samhain and Beltane. But Norse, very specifically, Litha and Yule. And so at Litha, when the sun is at the highest, that's when Freya becomes Frigg. And that's when she starts to age and become a mother and eventually a crone. And she has all of Odin's babies and it rules as at his side. But so the ritual I did, and I love it so much, is
it was good.
That Odin is the only god who knows that Freya is his wife. Yeah. And the other gods have selective amnesia, but Odin is the All-Father and he sees everything and he's the only one who knows. And so at Litha, Freya remembers that she has a husband and her husband's name is Od and he's missing. And that's true in the mythology.
Yeah.
And so at Litha, that's when she's like really stressed out trying to find her husband. Like she feels like there's a deadline. Like if I don't find him by this time, he's gone forever. Yeah. And so because we did this online, we literally got to do Odin looking directly into the camera and it was so funny. and so Freya's frantic, she's looking for her husband and Odin is like, hey, you good? Like, you need help with something? And he's the one who very slowly reminds her that Odin is her husband and reminds her that she's his queen. Yeah. And so what I did was I put down my axe and I picked up a crown and put the crown on. And then I did the charge of the goddess.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. It's freaking beautiful. I was so glad that you invited me to that online ritual because it really just it really hit you and your Norse mythology and your knowledge with that has always because I've dabbled in the Norse mythology. Like Frigg was actually the first deity I ever worked with. It was Frigg. And I didn't know anything about Norse mythology. I'm going to admit it right now. The reason why was because my kids were watching the Thor movies and freaking Chris Hemsworth as Thor. I was like, I am very invested in these movies. Now, her
sacral chakra was activated.
My sacral chakra was like, bada bing. And so now some people might say, well, that's not, but you know what? Whatever it takes, it got me to go, I want to know more about Norse mythology. And I just instantly connected with Frigga. And I was like, oh, and she's up there now because Athena broke.
I know. Oh,
sorry. That's a different story. Our Athena statuette broke. So I'm not very happy, but I put Frigga up there. And so, yeah. So I haven't worked with Frigg in a long time, but I really love people who know the stories. And you're one of those people that I've learned a lot from and I've listened to. And I really appreciate that. I want to just tell you right now that I really appreciate your knowledge and your passion for Norse mythology because I feel it too. I don't know as much, but I'm right there with you. I'm like, yes, like, yeah. So, let's talk about Spring Mysteries.
Oh, yes.
That's what we're here for, right?
I did forget. I did invoke Thor. I invoked Thor twice.
That's right. I've seen that one. Yeah.
Yes, but Spring Mysteries, let me resituate into a more comfortable position so we can So Spring Mysteries Festival is a continuation of the Eleusinian Mysteries, which took place for 3,000 consecutive years in ancient Greece. And we suspect that Jesus himself did, in fact, go to the mysteries and witnessed them, and then did this really shitty thing where he couldn't quite shut up about it. And so the Romans kind of crucified him for breaking his oath. But we don't really talk about that. We call it something else.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I've read all those books. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, so we are a continuation of the mysteries, and here's how I describe it, right? Like everybody's been to or they know of a Renaissance fair. So like think Renaissance fair, but it's the Greek gods. So you're like, we're in this giant conference room in a hotel. And so you're walking through the conference room and you got your cup of coffee and Zeus and Hera are over there on their throne and they're gossiping and they've got champagne. And then Artemis is out in the courtyard with a bunch of kids and they're playing tag. And Athena's got her book corner that you can go join her. And then Aphrodite, of course, is just like by the bathroom doing her makeup. And you get to experience this in real time. And so that's Friday. And then Saturday is the mysteries themselves, where the best thing to compare it to is a play, but it's a psychodrama. Like you sit as though you're watching a play, but you're watching the gods do something. Like the gods do a myth that they have done for centuries over and over at this time of year, and you're witnessing it with your eyeballs.
Yeah.
And that's when you can really tell, if you hadn't been able to tell the day before, that this is not people dressed up as gods walking around in costume. These are gods walking the earth wearing people as their costume.
Absolutely.
And it's really, it's powerful and it's unnerving. And my very first Spring Mysteries, I didn't know if I believed in invocation, but I was excited to see.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
This is when we were at Fort Flagler and we did our parade to the sea, and Poseidon is standing at the edge of the ocean with two mermaids at his feet. And I was like, oh my God, it's real. Like, that was not a person. That was Poseidon wearing some dude's skin. And, and he
that's when I really felt it too, was when we were at the beach at Fort Flagler and we're dancing around and we're chanting and we're doing all these things. And I'm like, oh, this is real. Like,
when they make the offering to the sea and seeing Poseidon down there and everything, that's when it
really hits us. Yeah,
that's when it starts to feel real. And because we're now in a hotel and not at Fort Flagler where we're like balls deep in nature, I feel that that the gods who were once very prominent and comfortable at Fort Flagler, like Artemis and Poseidon in particular, really pops there. Different gods are now popping at the hotel. Like Aphrodite seems like that's her place. And
comfort and convenience.
Exactly. And the same for Zeus and Hera. It's also their vibe as well. Hera and Hera and Aphrodite are best friends. I've been both Hera and Aphrodite, and the secrets, the girl talk, the orgies that
they're very much about beauty and power and and presentation.
So Spring Mysteries Festival is April 17th through 20th in Seattle, Washington this year. It is at the Hilton Hotel. You can find all the information you need at springmysteries.com, and the code Baubo10 will get you 10% off of your ticket. And it will also help me to be able to purchase things for Baubo, like her clothes and her jewelry, and help me with food throughout the weekend, because unfortunately we do have to pay for our own food, and gods get hungry. They're really hungry.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
But real hungry, and especially the vessel, because when you're holding this energy, it's like you have a radioactive bomb inside you, and then when you devoke, you're like, oh my God, like it's
yes, you talk about a come down. It's like a drug. It's coming down from a drug. I wanted to ask you really quick, because we got about 10 minutes or so. We can run over the hour, but I want to ask you really quick. I love that you love coffee. I love coffee. You know what I'm going to ask you. So you talk about what, every time you are a vessel for a deity, you talk about what their coffee drink is. What is Baubo's coffee drink?
So the base is going to be almond milk or soy milk, first of all. And it's dark chocolate, not white chocolate. It's dark chocolate and orange.
Oh my God, I knew it.
So what?
Dark chocolate and orange, which is my favorite combination. And I was going to say, please tell me it's dark chocolate and orange. Yeah.
I think that or I usually get it with oat milk. That's my preference. But what I have discovered is that the gods don't like regular milk because, I mean, also, as a human, I also don't like regular milk very much. But
we're not supposed to be drinking cow milk, by the way.
The gods want to drink Demeter's bounty. And so oats and almonds and soy, like that's almost exclusively the lattes that I'll use, except for Apollo. Apollo can have cow's milk, that dirty little slut.
Yeah, I can see that. But he purifies everything else, so he gets away with it.
He gets away with it, yeah.
See, we're a coconut milk household.
Yeah, we like coconut milk. So yeah, I'm glad I remembered that, because I remember you would always say, "Oh, a coffee drink this time is," and I was always, because I love coffee. Coffee is my thing. So I'm so glad you said that. I think I will order that maybe tomorrow morning, just in honor of Baubo, because that's my favorite. He gets me the dark chocolate and orange candy bar by Lint, yeah, and that's my favorite.
It does. It tastes just like a candy bar. Yeah. I usually I will not do any less than 3 shots in my coffee, and I found that like the more espresso, or the denser the espresso is to the ratio, like if it's a 16 ounce, there's usually only 2 shots in a 16 ounce, but if you ask for the 3rd shot, it really brings out that orange flavor a little bit more and kind of adds a tanginess.
Yeah,
and I feel like that's very much Baubo, a dark humor and a little bit of tanginess.
Yeah. I love that. So I want to talk about New Eleusis.
Yes,
tell us what New Eleusis is.
The Spring Mysteries takes place originally in Eleusis. So
yes, so Eleusis is where, what, 2,000 years ago, 3,000 years ago, that they were like making a pilgrimage to Eleusis. Yeah, so we are now going to talk about this. Has been floating around with the Aquarian Tabernacle Church. Is to build New Eleusis. Can you tell us about that?
So Demeter has told us that now is the time in history for us to pay very close attention to her mysteries and to build her, not a temple, but rebuild her city. Because first of all, that's where we can be safe if the world blows up. Also, we are entering the age of Aquarius, which means that there tends to be a lot of chaotic stuff that happens in the age of Aquarius, and this will be a refuge place for not the chaos. So the concept is that we will grow our own food, is a big one, and have our own animals, and it'll essentially be a very tiny city for pagans, and we'll have temples to all of the gods there that you can visit, just like you would in Eleusis, go into their temple. Mm-hmm. And we'll have things that a city has, like doctor's offices, stores, school at some point. We do have, we're working on setting up a pagan K-12 school. I don't know how that's going right now, but Spiral Scouts is making it happen. So we will be, we'll have something like that as well. And the premise essentially is that we will be living off of the land and be based around a community. And so the last time I did mushrooms, and I know that's not a great way to start a sentence, but
hello,
we have an episode called hallucinogenics.
We have an episode that you can look up called hallucinogenics, and we have taken mushrooms and we have talked about witches and wine stuff.
Yeah.
So
we are fantastic.
We are pro mushroom.
The last time I took mushrooms, I was having an existential crisis about capitalism. Like, why do I still have to go to work and make money when my cats get to lay around and be cats all day? Not fair. And so I was making this, I was grinding the mushroom for the tea, and I was dedicating this trip that I was going to have to Persephone to kind of like unshield the mysteries of death and rebirth. And so I drink the tea, and
middle.
What Persephone tells me is that as humans, we were not supposed to get past the hunter-gatherer small community stage. The fact that we have gotten past it and now we've entered capitalism, we've gone too far, and we need to backtrack and go back to living off of the land, growing our own food. Again, that's a big one. But also like having these small, tight-knit communities where people can rely on each other, and that money isn't the commodity to exchange goods and services, that everybody has what they need and everybody shares what they need, because people aren't, there isn't a hierarchy of money. Like money is rendered obsolete. So that's what we're working on with New Eleusis. And that's just like the bare bones of it.
Oh yeah. There's so much more, but every pagan, every witch, well, not every, but the ones that we hang out with, that is our ultimate goal. Like, we want property. We want a barter system. We want to live off the land.
We want a self-sustaining society, a commune essentially, but
we're
open with pagan and Wiccan beliefs.
We're hippies. We want to live on a hippie commune.
We believe in showers. We're not hippies.
Oh wait, we still take showers, and we don't pour patchouli over us to say that.
Patchouli does not represent.
That's the hippie shower.
Yeah, that does not constitute a shower, guys.
And I apologize to hippies that are watching. I love you all. Just patchouli sometimes doesn't help. Anyway, so so New Eleusis, I mean, that is the ultimate dream of so many places, so many covens I've talked to, so many people. That would be amazing, because it would be that gathering place. And Goddess only knows with what's happening in our country. I mean, I am really hell-bent on community. Like, we need our communities more, now more than ever.
And that's part of the reason why we're ramping up with our shows, because we want to introduce more community.
Yeah, we want to talk about community, and New Eleusis is just a community that is safe and self-sustaining, and I love that. I love that idea. I want to talk real quick about you can take a new student. Can you tell us what that is? Like, what does that mean, taking a student?
So for second degree clergy and third degree clergy, it means that we're ordained. We've done we've done enough witchcraft training to be able to pass on our knowledge to a pupil. And I've been a second degree now since 2022, and I have yet to take a student because I've been working on my own shadows and myself, because I actually want to be a competent teacher. But Spring Mysteries Festival is coming up. That is when people usually dedicate. So if you are a student of a second degree, it means that you are not just learning how to do witchcraft, such as like spells, potions, gemstones. Like, those are all fun, and you'll learn that through Woolston-Steen's Theological Seminary. Yeah. But your teacher is someone who holds you spiritually and magically accountable for your thoughts, feelings, and actions. And having a teacher allows you to have someone to process your shadow work with and to guide you on the spiritual path that Wiccan Seminary will take you on. And it also allows you to be a part of a coven, because your teacher is part of a coven, and then you join that family. And I don't know if any of you guys have watched Agatha All Along. I loved it. But what really stuck out to me was the concept of how a witch needs a coven, because, I was a solitary for 10 years and I didn't think that was true. And then I had a coven and I was like, oh my God, I needed a coven so bad. Yeah. And it's not just the concept of learning from someone. It's about having family and knowing that you're not alone in the craft, because the craft can be very lonely. And even if you're just by yourself, and you want to, every solitary I've talked to is like, I want a coven, but I don't know people. I don't like people. I don't trust people. But if I liked people, if I trusted people, then yes, I'd like a small coven. And that's kind of what having a teacher allows you to be a part of. And it's a safe way to dip your feet into the not solitary part of Wicca, and also take your craft from just, knowing about witchcraft at the basis to like actually being able to connect with deity and do really challenging spiritual work and like be at a level of, I mean, when we have like, when we think of Christian Christian priests and or rabbis or it like you think, oh well, this is a man of God, and you know a lot of people take advantage of that, but like you're actually on a path to being clergy, you're on a path to be a child of Goddess and to be her mouthpiece, and we need that in our world more than ever right now because these people walking around saying they know Jesus,
they don't.
I don't know who that is, but if you open the Bible and read the words of Jesus, you will see it is not him.
Yeah, exactly.
What they are currently doing is not what was taught in the Old Testament or New Testament.
Yeah, they're interpreting it in a way. I'm talking about like I don't know if I can say it. We can't say it.
We're just gonna stop here.
We'll stop here because I'll get on my soapbox. So yeah, definitely. I'm so glad I know that you have room to take one student, because I have had people ask me, you know, do you know anyone I can do one-on-one teaching with? And I just haven't really known. So, and wiccanseminary.edu, that is where I got my bachelor's degree in Wiccan clergy and ministry. That's where a lot of us through the ATC have been trained. It's wonderful. And if you want to get a hold of Anna here, I'm going to put her email address. Oh, wait, it's already here. I keep doing that. I know. Where is it? Right here.
Yep.
It is
Titania.
Tarot with Titania at gmail.com. And thank you so much, Anna. This has been so, we could have gone, because I was like, let's just talk about Baubo, but I kept looking at my list and I'm like, we got to hit some other things. But I can say, I mean, we were talking about holding a mirror to our vaginas. We were talking about, you know, menstruation. We were talking about like all the things, because that's what she does.
Well, Baubo is the focus for you, and it's always a focus for us in our house.
Yeah.
We have Baubo everywhere in our house.
We love Baubo.
Yeah.
She's been one of the most freeing. She's just, I love her. I love her so much. She means a lot. So I'm so glad I got to talk to you about that, because it's so meaningful, and especially for women, you know, and we need that. We need to like look at our vaginas in a mirror, and our first response not be, ooh.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm very bisexual. I've been with other women, and why is it that I can look at their vagina and think it's the most beautiful thing in the world, and then I look at mine and I'm like, ooh.
Right?
That's what we've taught women, though, is to not appreciate your own self, but to judge yourself against others.
Yeah.
That's society, and that's wrong. But
but we're breaking those those barriers. So, Children of the Crossroads is a nonprofit organization, and we do all of these wonderful things online. We do public events here in Spokane, and we do this because the Goddess has called us to do this. So if you would like to donate to our coven, we've got PayPal. You can go, all these links are in the description for the YouTube show we're doing right now, but it's really easy. It's paypal.me COTC-ATC. That's Children of the Crossroads ATC. And then we also have a Venmo. It's the same. It's COTC-ATC Venmo. And we have a Discord channel, which is also in our description, that you can just click on it and come to our Discord. We do daily devotionals, we do workshops, we do rituals. We try to keep that Discord channel really active. Mm-hmm. And so if you want to check us out and meet us and talk with us, head on over there. We have a really good time. And finally, where's the email address?
At the very top.
Very top. There it is. If you would like to get a hold of us, if you'd like to be a guest on our show, if you have a suggestion for a guest on our show, our dog is whining right now. The old lady, she's cueing us. The show is over. If you just want to ask us, why do you do what you do? You can email us at
crossroadscoven@gmail.com.
I'm sorry, what was that?
That's crossroadscoven@gmail.com.
Thank you so much, Anna. I am looking forward. Unfortunately, we cannot make it to Spring Mysteries, but we are such supporters. We are an affiliate of ATC. We love Spring Mysteries. We love all of you. We will support you and promote you in any way that we can. So thank you for being a guest on our show. And remember, everyone, in this time and place, it's really important to have community and be kind to one another and always walk with the goddess. And until next time, blessed be.
Bye, all.
Bye, everybody. Keep waving.